Chippy, ready? It really breaks my heart. See a dear old friend go down to that worn-out place again. Do you know the sound of a closing door? Do you know that sound somewhere before? Do you wonder if she knows you anymore? Wait. Wrapped your love around me like a chain, but I never was afraid that it would die. You can dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the eye. Yeah. I didn't learn a new song. I knew this song, but I had a major revelation about my personality as a hurricane. And this song is called The Eye. Oh man, what's happening? What's happening, good people? Wrapped your love around me like a chain, but I never was afraid that it would die. You can dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the aisle. Danielle was shaking. What is going down, good people? We got Mimi, we got Corey Sandler. Hello to all you wonderful folk. It has been a week. I have not been here. Shame on me. It's not simple to say. Oh, that's up here. It's not simple to say that most days I don't recognize me, that these shoes and this apron, that place and its patrons. Wait. Not simple to say that most days I don't recognize me, shoes and Okay. It's not simple to say that most days I don't recognize me, that these shoes and this apron, that place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl. She's imperfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely, lonely. Most of the time, she is all of this mixed up and baked, beautiful pie. She's gone, but she used to be mine. Oh, man. So I figure what I'll do tonight is I'll talk a little bit about my trip to Washington, D.C. for the big old fly-in with Daisy Thomas and the crew. And some things we learned, some experiences. I'd never been to the White House before. That was a trip. Oh my God, you're back. We went through withdrawal. Hey, Kelly, what's happening? Thank you for the warm welcome back. We'll do that. We're going to talk about some other stuff. I'll probably talk a little bit about my practice. I've had some interesting. I had a couple of interesting experiences in DC related to daily practice. I would say the nice thing about a daily practice is it's a daily reminder that you could be doing your daily practice in deeper ways. How about those pats? Come on. I mean, come on. Really, Broncos? You can't drive. You couldn't even drive for a fucking field goal? Really? Come on. Can you move the second screen? Oh, up a little. Yes. Like that. Small Kyle up. And then like, and then, like that. Because you want to see me twice, right? You want to see this version of me over here. You want to see that one. So you get, it's like, that's like the little map of me. Dust check. Yeah, I already did the dusting thing. I probably didn't do it good enough. And then this is like the zoomed in version of the map. You want to see both of those because the beauty is profound. You don't want to miss any of it. Looks like I need to recalculate. Vicky's in the house. Joy Purdy's in the house. I think I saw Source Camp. I saw Steve-O. Who else we got? William Clark is here. Jose Gonzalez. What's happening? What's happening? Silver Fox in the house. Hey, Corey Sandler. Those cool little potion pots you made. What are those? You're up there making like tincture pots. What kind of witchery do you have going on in your little workshop? Are you gonna sell sourdough starter in those little things? They are mighty cute. I like potion pots. We're all here. Tupac Tom's here. It's good. Mimi's here. This is awesome. Wait, they're for a film series about the main character is a witch and a potter. Well, they're fucking cool. Is this a film you're making? Are you doing like an AI film? Oh, I have a weird thing too. I have an index finger story. And it's not pleasant. I have a non-pleasant index finger story. Good to have the fam back together. No, a real Netflix like miniseries. That you're working on? Are you making these for that, Corey? Actually, yes. I'm oroviding pottery. Is oroviding a word? if oroviding is a word, I don't know it. Oh, providing. Providing, yes. Okay, oroviding. I thought it was some witchy kind of. I think, Corey, so do me a favor. Next time you go in there, say, I've been oroviding pottery all week for the production. And when they ask you what that means, you just go, oh, it's a witch thing. Potion bottles and other pots for uses for a studio. That's really cool. Congratulations. Oh, that's so cool. Have you done stuff like that before? Did they find you on the TikTok? I'm just waiting for a Netflix series about an angry Gen Xer sitting in the corner office. Yeah. Actually, you should tell them that they're AI generated, because I saw the one little top has the little curly Q on it, and that's from your character. Like, so you stole from yourself. You stole designs from yourself. I know what you're doing over there. There's nothing original. Everything is some idea stolen from someone else, even if you steal it from you. We're all large language models. Director and writer contacted me. She had one of my potion bottles. That's so cool. Congrats. What I like about this community is that you guys show up and you are willing to put yourself out there, to just be. You're willing to let yourselves evolve. When opportunity comes knocking, you're like, hey, I'll give it a shot. I'll make potion bottles for a movie. Why not? Vicky would have been here earlier, but their daughter picked the wrong time to visit. Those children are never convenient, are they? If it's not one thing. Walt Grace, desperately hating his old place, dreamed to discover a new place, buried himself alive inside his basement, tongue on the side of his facement. He's working away on displacement, what it would take to survive. So when you're done with this world, you know the next is after you. And for once in his life it was quiet as he learned how to turn with the tides. And the sky was a flare as he came up for air. Air. I don't know the rest of the words to that song, but it's a cool song. Okay. Enough guitar madness. Where shall I begin? If anyone, Kyle learned a new song. I did. I've learned a couple of new songs. Well, they aren't. They're actually songs that I knew, but I tend not to play them because I don't really know them. Like I have learned in my life that there's a difference between being able to look at like a guitar tab and play it and actually playing it. Those are two very different things. Because the actually playing it, you actually have to know it. And when you're looking at the tabs, you convince yourself that you actually know it, but you don't. Okay, so last week I was in Washington D.C. I was there as the host of a fly-in where the AI Salon hosted 13 different AI startups, and the big day was Thursday, although we did have a really fascinating event on Wednesday, which was a roundtable panel discussion with 4 of the startups that was co-hosted by the Abundance Institute and AI Salon. And that was really fascinating. It was in the at the Capitol, in the basement of the Capitol, they have offices, and so we were in an office that had, I don't know, 50 chairs in it, maybe. And I was expecting, 7 people to show up, because that's how this shit goes sometimes. But it was essentially a full house, and so these were all staffers of legislators on the Hill, and so it was an event that people clearly wanted to be at. It was a lot of young people, a lot of people taking notes, a lot of people asking good questions. It was the 4 startups basically telling their stories, and 3 of the 4 startups that were in that roundtable are the ones that I led around the White House meetings. And so it was good to get to hear their stories first, kind of as an audience member. I did get an opportunity at the end of the panel to talk about the AI Salon and talk about the opportunity that I get to witness in this community of you all doing remarkable things with AI and approaching AI from a human-centric point of view. The one thing that strikes me every time I go to Washington is how surprised people are that AI is not just this evil thing that is going to, kill us. Because I mean, honest to God, I think all they hear is constituents going, AI is evil, you got to stop it. So when they hear very simple stories, what I think are very simple stories of people trying to run their businesses using AI, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And it's really amazing to watch those staffers and legislators, I don't know, see the other side of the coin is the best way to put it. And that was really inspiring. So that was the first day. And then that night we had a gathering reception where we hosted it again, and we had all the startups there, and I got to give welcoming remarks. And I don't quite know how to say this, but so in the past 6 weeks to a month, I've been really working on this daily practice and really working on me and how I show up to stuff, right? How I show up in the salon, how I show up for my projects, how I show up for myself, how I show up for my family. And one of the big revelations was this idea that for 60 years, I had a subconscious, like I knew it was there, but it was so automatic that it was like it was reality. And it was this voice in my head where whenever I would think about doing something like going up and introducing the AI Salon and telling these people I'm happy to have them there in Washington D.C. The persistent voice in my head was, they don't really want to hear from you. Yeah, they don't want to hear from you. It was very matter of fact. And so what that meant was that every time I would have to get in front of a group of people or say something, even though I've got the ability to say words good, I got the training for wordsmithing. Whenever I would have that opportunity, I would have this internal battle of, well, they don't really want to hear from you. Well, just go talk anyway. It's okay. And it was this, they don't want you here, was the emotional reality every time I would do anything, from writing an email to reaching out to someone to speak on a podcast to standing up in front of a group of people. And the result of it was things like panic attacks and anxiety. And even if I managed to not have panic attacks and anxiety, what would happen would be this. I would get up in front of a group of people like that, and just my training would kick in and my natural ability would kick in. And I'd talk and I'd make jokes and I'd do the things, but I would be completely disassociated. Like I wasn't even there. And so I would do these things, and then after them, like not even really know what I said, not really take in what happened. And then after an event like that, I would either completely dismiss it. Oh, that was whatever. Like, especially if someone's like, oh, that was really amazing, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. I'd completely dismiss it. Or I'd sort of amplify it in some ego bullshit way. But I was not present. I was not present to those moments. And so starting with the round table on Wednesday morning, when I was asked to come up and say something at the end, normally that would be a high anxiety, likely a panic attack or like panic attack symptoms kind of a moment. And I didn't have that. My mantra for the past 3 weeks has been, they really want to hear, they really want to hear from you. And they always have. And so I wake up every morning now and I journal that. I write that in my fucking journal. So if we're talking about daily practice here, part of my daily practice now is I get up and I'm so you all know probably more than anyone that I can fucking kick a habit into gear, right? If I decide I'm going to go live 7 nights a week for the AI Learning Lab, I'm going to fucking do it for a year, right? Like if I commit for a year, bang, I'm just going to go. So I've got that skill. So my new skill is I wake up at 7, I take a shower, I take Champy for a walk at 7:30. We have a big yard, so I don't have to walk him, but I'm just doing it to get my fucking ass out there and breathing air and letting my dog go sniff other dogs' piss because that's what they love. He is much happier as a result of that. And then I get back and I write in my journal, they really want to hear from you and always have. And then I write down who wants to hear from me and what do they want to hear. If I breathe air right now, I'll get frostbite. Yeah, Brandon's in Cleveland in 2-degree weather with a foot of snow. Our sales guy's up in Buffalo, and it's been snowing for 2 days. He said it's absolutely brutal. He's like snow blowed, like, every 3 hours for a day and a half. Anyway, so we're having this cocktail party, and there's like 35 people in a 30-person space. It's tight. And Kathy comes up to me and she goes, okay, you ready to give your speech? And I had thought about what I wanted to say about the salon. I had thought about what I wanted to say about you all and your stories. I had thought about what I wanted to say to these startups and what's important for them to say. And when she said, "Are you ready to say this?" I said, "Sure." And I could feel my blood pressure rising. And she goes, "Let me go get some sort of noisemaker." And she brought back like a gimlet glass and a fork on a tray, right? So I picked it up and I was like, well, I guess I'm fucking doing this. And so I just went bang, 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 and just whoom, all these faces turned to me. And I took a deep breath in and I just said, they really want to hear from you and they always have. And I could feel all that pressure drop, like lower. It just went like a tire deflating. And I started talking. And so in real time, while I was doing this, I was noticing a couple of things. The room was long and skinny, so I'm like in the middle of it, and there's like 2 rows of people in front of me, but then most of the people are off to the sides, and it's like there's like 15 people over here, 15 people over here, and a few in front of me. And so I noticed that I was actually, when I was looking people in the eyes, I was actually looking them in the eyes and like taking them in, like I was allowing myself to see myself being seen. And like in real time, I recognized that was not normal. That what I normally do is I have this like plexiglass shield where I make eye contact, but then I go fucking glossy eyed. I just disassociate. And I wasn't doing that. And the other thing that I noticed was there were kind of 4 main sections that I wanted to talk about, right? I wanted to introduce myself. I wanted to talk about what the AI Salon was and why it was important and what we do and this idea of AI readiness and the idea of, what it means to think about, human-centric use of AI and how important it is. And then I wanted to talk about how important every one of their stories was. And I wanted to wrap it up. And I wanted to talk about, why this was personally meaningful for me. Very often when I go into that disassociative state where I'm not present, all of those thoughts go out of my head and then I just say whatever I say. And one of the things that I noticed was the thoughts didn't go out of my head. They were just there. And there was a slowness, a calmness. It wasn't this frenetic panic. There was just a calmness, and it was like the ideas were just kind of floating on the surface of my brain. And I was like, oh yeah, that one's coming up next, and I'll say that one, and then I would sort of tee it up and I would talk about it. And you know me, like I let myself get emotional a lot, so I got emotionally connected to some of the things I was saying, but it didn't, like, I didn't run down a fucking rabbit hole with it. I just felt it, did it, and so I just connected with the people, and I could like see them engaging and nodding and appreciating, and I was there and I was present. So I think for the people in the room, it was probably a nice, warm welcome from the guy that started this thing called the AI Salon. I don't know that they would have noticed a difference necessarily if I had been this disassociated manic version of me or this calm one, but for me, this was a very, very different experience. And it's the direct result of some coaching work that I've been doing with Andy, and with the daily practice, and with being intentional, recognizing that AI is not the goal, that us as humans is the goal, and using AI to amplify that is really important. But it's a direct result of all that stuff, and that was very cool. It was very powerful. Um, it's it's those little victories in life, right? Like I'm fucking 60, and like when I was doing agency.com, you know how many of those fucking speeches I gave? Like every time we acquired a new company, I have to fly to fucking Europe and sit in front of a bunch of people and say, hey, I'm your new creative boss. And, you know, they didn't necessarily like Americans all that much, even back then. And I was so disassociated. I gave so many of these things. I got really good at it, but I was never fucking present. Like I got to build one of the biggest agencies in the world, making some of the coolest stuff, like innovating and doing creative stuff and stuff that I should have been present to and proud of, and I was completely disassociated. So at 60, being there and giving a similar kind of talk that I've given hundreds of times before, but to not have it be this panic was just beautiful. Just simple. It was just me. It was there. Like I've got the skills to talk, but now I was actually present to my own power and my own grace and my own humanity. And I was present to the fact that people were seeing me, like taking me in, like I took in that they were taking me in. I don't know that I've ever really done that like that. So that was kind of beautiful. And it was funny, like when I got back to my hotel room, normally when I'm in that manic state, I'm so fucking pumped full of adrenaline that when I get home or back to a hotel after an event like that, I just fucking crash out. And I didn't do that because I wasn't way up here. I was in this more calm, centered place. Here, I'll show you something. Is anyone still here? 24 of you. You guys are awesome. I know I'm just talking. I'm not paying attention to anyone. I want to show you something. TikTok pin. This is a big leap forward, Kyle. Thank you. It is. It really is. Let me share my screen. So I'm going to share an image with you. that I made. This was after a coaching session I had with Andy. And we were talking about, oh, that's great. Thank you, Brandon. New TikTok pin. I think this is total vulnerability. Very hard to do. Thanks, Mary. It wasn't hard to do until I read that comment. Now it's hard to do. I was talking with Andy about how I create things. And the image that came to mind was a hurricane. And I've got this intense, like category 5 energy to create. And that's the guy in the upper left here is like this manic, I'm gonna make some shit stuff. Like at the upper end of the hurricane is all this energy that is like big. It's like big ego. It's like if we can do it for 100 people, we can do it for 1,000. If we can do it for 1,000, we can do it for 10,000. Fuck it, let's do it for the whole world. It's this instinctive energy to go up and out. And then I oscillate between that guy and this really small, peasant-y, low energy, bottom of the hurricane, destructive energy version of me. So in the lower right here is this version that's got this rope. And so whenever this guy gets too big, I've got this version of me that's like, hey, buddy, come on down to reality, you fucking asshole. Like, what are you doing? We're not that big, right? And so I have this, and they're both this frenetic energy, and one is like a frenetic energy to get smaller and more destructive, shut it down, break it. And one is this sort of just insane, big, out there version. Some might call that balance, TikTok pin. Yeah. And so what struck me was my dad was a pilot and he used to fly C-130s. And if you don't know C-130s, they have a modified version of a C-130 that they use to fly into the eye of hurricanes. So hurricanes have these 150, 180 mile an hour winds, and these planes are designed to fly through that turbulence. And the goal is to get into the eye of the hurricane so that they can take measurements. And the eye of the hurricane is completely calm. So that song that I started out with, the Brandi Carlile song, The Eye, you can dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the eye, is the line from the song. And it's like that song, that this image of hurricanes has just been there for me. And so the place that I'm finding myself is in the eye of the hurricane. Like the chaotic big thinking me and the small thinking, let's bring it down there, Skippy. I've got 60 years of knowing how to be those guys, right? And there's something about that energy, that chaotic, fucking insane category 5 energy that I can tap into. It's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. But the reason I have projects that are like in fits and starts is that it's only chaos. It's like all big, all small, all big, all small. Destroy it, make it smaller, quit. Make it bigger, make it less realistic, right? What if, like that talk that I gave, I can just go, I'm willing to listen to both of these. There's probably some value in both of these voices. What if I just sat in the center in this calm place and just tapped into the energy as I need it? So anyway, so that's the image. Like we live in this remarkable time where you can talk a Renaissance painting into existence centered on your vision of something. Oh man. I was late, rewinding 10 minutes on 2x speed to catch up. Oh, that's cute. That's sweet. The dude. Yeah, exactly. The dude just fucking sitting there in the eye of the hurricane. I'll show you one other picture. This one's a little more vulnerable, but fuck it. Same style. So one of the other revelations that I had is that I had a real resentment for what I for what I now call Yale row boys. So Yale row boys are like this dude over here standing in front of his Jaguar in front of Yale in his little preppy shorts and jacket. And this is another coaching session with Andy that I had this revelation. Because I forget how we were starting, and I said something like, I hate Yale row boys. And I think her response was something like, hate's a strong word. But it led us into this conversation where a term popped into my head for myself that I've never thought before, which is I have in most of my life seen myself as a peasant. Didn't have money, didn't grow up with privilege, didn't go to an Ivy League school. And that I was a peasant in some sort of bizarre competition with, but lust after the Yale row boy types, right? And then as we talked through this more and more, it struck me that this wasn't just me, that my grandmother was like this. She resented people that were successful and rich, but wanted to be them desperately. And my mother resented them and wanted to be them. She always wanted me to dress preppy. She's like, dress preppy. You should wear docksiders. And I always fucking hated that because I knew that I was a peasant. And again, I've never used that word in my life. It just came up this past month. But it struck me that dynamic is at least 3 generations deep in my family. And then, you know, this guy in the center, this fucking crazy, the dude, creative dude with his, you know, fucking crazy patterned shirt and his long hair and his many projects and his instruments is who I really am. That the whole time I thought I was in this game in competition with these people that are likely every bit as fucking flawed as I am. Everybody's fucked up. Whether you went to an Ivy League school and had an awesome rich daddy or not, you're probably more fucked up, right? The expectations there, the fucking rules, the how you have to live in society, it's got to be fucking exhausting. And what I realized is that what I've successfully done in my life is I'm not even in that game. I'm in a different game. I'm the artist. I'm an artist. I look at the world and I can see things that other people can't. I can look in the world and I can see possibility. And because I have this fucking hurricane energy, if I see possibility and I fall in love with it, I fucking do it. Like I'm not even playing the same game. And so when I got to DC this time, what I realized is that Washington, D.C., and the reason I've kind of secretly, I've never said this before, but the reason I have secretly hated these D.C. fly-ins is that it's not my world. DC is nothing but Yale row boys. and girls, right? Like Ivy League nerds and geniuses and good-looking, fucking freakishly good-looking people. The guy that moderated this Wednesday session, he was literally like 6'7", chiseled, had a voice of the gods. It was just amazing. And I think had I not had this breakthrough, like, I have this weird sort of resentment to them, but what it really is more than resentment is I know that a peasant should not be in the same room with these smart, privileged, powerful people. I know I shouldn't be there. They know I shouldn't be there. That's been my reality for my whole fucking life. And so this time, I'm taking the car from the airport to the hotel, and we're driving through DC, and I'm seeing the monuments, and it's striking me, holy shit, no wonder DC feels weird to you. It's full of Yale robe boys, right? And then I had this image, and I'm like, oh, they need me here. I bring something they don't have. I can see things they can't see. They really want to hear from me. And so the chain in this image, the chain, here is the chain breaking from my 3 generations of being this small-minded peasant in competition, but lusting after that life, only to realize, fuck no. I don't want that life. I mean, I'll take some money, take some of that old money, but I don't give a shit about that. I'm this guy. I'm this other thing. So it allowed me to be in the presence of people that would normally intimidate me and give me anxiety and give me envy. And just let it go. And just go. I'm playing a different game. They actually need me in the room. They need me in the room because I can see things they can't see. Literally. I can literally see things they can't see. I can do things they can't do. So that was that. And then, the way these things work, there's generally 2 different groups. There's a larger group that goes to Capitol Hill, and for the first 2 fly-ins, that's where I went. And then there's usually a smaller group that goes to the White House. And they're very different kinds of meetings. The White House, the staff there is tied to the president, and they're not worried about legislation. They're just running the government. The legislators are trying to figure out what to do next. The people in the White House are just running it. And so it's a very different kind of meeting. And so the past 2 times I've been on Capitol Hill, and this time, not only did I get to go to the White House, I actually led the group, right? So it was me that introduced all the meetings, introduced why we were there, introduced the startups that were there. And then they added a meeting in the morning at the Department of Commerce. So I got to do 2 things that day. This was on Thursday. One was go to the Department of Commerce. And that was fascinating because actually hearing that, the agencies in the Department of Commerce actually have a fucking clue about AI. They know what's going on. They know what's happening. They're hiring talented engineers out of the labs. And so when the guy that we met with heard the stories of these startups, he actually, you could see his gears turning. Okay, I need to talk to someone over in this agency and someone in that agency. We got to get our data cleaned up. We got to get our data out. We got to get it out, right? Like, it was really cool because he actually had a fucking clue. And that gave me a lot of hope. And then the White House, you know, I didn't think it was a different deal than going to Capitol Hill. But when I got on Tuesday, when I woke up, was it Tuesday morning? No, when I woke up Wednesday. No, it was whatever. It was Tuesday afternoon. Whenever I flew in, I opened up my email, and there was, "You've got an email from the White House." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And it's like, "You've been approved." And it was like White House letterhead. I was like, "Oh shit! I'm going to the White House. Like, this is a big fucking deal." It hit me. So you do have some qualifications. We suspected it all along. Exactly. And so we went to the White House, and we had to double fill out essentially Google forms for security and shit like that. And you go through sort of 3 layers of security when you enter, and there's a risk you get behind like a a gaggle of like 50 students that all have to get through security. So we didn't hit that. We just went straight in. We were mostly in the Eisenhower building, but we were basically just across the driveway from the White House. So in the Eisenhower building, we could go out on the porch and look at the White House. We saw the cranes building the big, beautiful ballroom. Just like, so I got some pictures of that. I got some pictures of the construction equipment for our new ballroom. And here a couple of things struck me. One thing that I knew in my head, but I didn't actually take in, is that, like, when you hear White House staff, somehow in my head, I had that as like the staff of a house, like there's 20 or 30 people running around doing things. No. The Eisenhower building is like hundreds of offices that represent all these different agencies and all these different functions of government. And it's like, there are just thousands and thousands and thousands of people in this thing. And every time you get a new president, that entire building flips over. Like all the people from the previous administration leave and all the new people come in. And like the scale of it was remarkable. So that was one of the things, is just the scale of the operation was just impressive. The other thing that kind of struck me is that, other than lots of prominent pictures of, the current occupant of the White House, the place didn't have a political feel to it. It didn't feel partisan. Like, what it felt like was, there's a bunch of people in here trying to figure out what their job is and trying to figure out how to do it and deal with all the people that come into that building to ask them for something, right? Which is sort of what we were doing, but our thing was a little different. We weren't asking for anything. We were literally there saying, here are some companies doing cool stuff with AI. We want to educate you that there are 2 sides to the AI coin. One of them is risk and danger. We think you're pretty well aware of that. The other one is opportunity and the difference that generative AI is making in people's lives, and we want you to meet some of them. So we were there in a very non-confrontational way. And so we did 3 different meetings on the White House grounds. The first one was with the office of the liaison or something like that. It's basically that office's job to connect you with other people you should be talking to. So that meeting was interesting. He didn't give too much of a shit about what the companies were doing, but what he was interested in is figuring out who should these people be talking to. So that was kind of fascinating. The next meeting we had was a guy that showed up 40 minutes late and didn't want to be in the meeting. So that just happens sometimes. He was a bit of a bit of a tool. Definitely a Yale robe type. But you know what? What was cool was I didn't have any resentment toward him in anything other than he was being a dick, and I could just recognize him for being a dick. But he was also stressed out and late and didn't want to be there. So that happens sometimes. And then the last meeting we did was with the Department of Budget and whatever the fuck, the ones that spend the money, and actually take the laws that get passed and figure out how to implement them, and run our government. And it was two women in there, and they were both very smart. They were both very engaged. They were both very excited to hear about these stories. And yeah, it was a really powerful. It was a powerful day. It was a powerful week. Being present to the fact that you're in Washington D.C., sharing a lot of your stories, quite frankly, and representing whatever it is that we've discovered here together, as important, and getting to really represent that in an articulate, passionate way to people that can make a difference, was pretty inspiring. So anyway, were you ever on C-SPAN? No, that's the thing. So none of these fly-ins are anything like congressional hearings, where the stuff you see on C-SPAN is a congressional hearing, right? Where it's the room full of, whoever's on that committee, and then they're bringing in people to actually testify. That's usually something where they're testifying on a specific bill or a specific issue, or someone's in trouble and they're trying to make it clear that they're in trouble. These meetings are much more behind the scenes relationship building meetings. So what these meetings are is, if we do our job right, like Daisy Thomas was there, and she was on Capitol Hill this time. And she did a round table where she got to meet with some elected officials, one who's in the district next to hers in Florida. And he wants us to participate. He's going to invite us to do things there. So the whole point of these meetings is, when these legislators say, hey, we got to get something going on AI, who do we know that we can talk to that actually has a clue about what's going on, right? Particularly for small businesses or individuals. We want to be on that list, right? And so that's the purpose of these. So it's much more low key than the big room with all the cameras and all the Congress people screaming at each other. I didn't see any of that. I'm so addicted to C-SPAN 1, 2, and 3. That's awesome. In case you were wondering, I think you were one of the cool kids. That's very sweet. So anyway, that's it. I know I've just been blabbing. I haven't been looking at comments, but if anyone has any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them. For me, the difference between talking to staffers on Congressional Hill and talking at the White House was that the people in the White House, and certainly the people in the Department of Commerce, they actually know that shit's happening with AI. Like, that was actually really, it was good. They're not thinking necessarily about the laws and what Congress should do. In fact, a lot of the conversations in the White House were, well, Congress should fucking do something about it. They didn't swear, but Congress should do something about it. They're like, they write the laws, we're going to put them into place, right? On Capitol Hill, it was a much more frustrating experience, at least the last 2 times I did it, because they're the ones writing the laws and they have no clue what's happening. So it was actually good to be there. Let's see the comment about the Ivy League. So grateful you realized that you definitely belong in DC. Such a big shift for you. Yay. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a very big deal. I was surprised. So this is good. All this heartfelt stuff. Brandon's response: I was surprised your hair was given security clearance. He's not wrong. This is one of the worst haircuts I've ever had, but I look hip. I look like one of those people desperate. This is a haircut of the guy that goes to the club that kind of stands in the corner, the creepy old guy at the club, where all the young women are just ignoring him because it's so uncomfortable. This is that haircut. It's the row club cut. Exactly. We're Department of Commerce folks more pessimistic or optimistic about AI? It's a great question. Like if I had to categorize his attitude, it was just one guy, but he oversaw. I forget what his role was. He was like senior policy advisor or something like that. So he's fairly up there. It was very clear to me that AI in commerce for the United States is an active part of the conversation. It's not like if AI comes, like when you talk to legislators, you're like, are they even aware that AI is here? Like on the legislative side, it's very frustrating. They're like, they don't quite understand, how internet works. Like, I fax my emails to my, to my boss, and then whatever. It's just a different thing. So I would say that he was acutely aware that AI is here, that AI is a big deal. And what he was most interested in, which I thought was fascinating, was all of his agencies, like NOAA, the national, the weather folks, and agriculture agencies, and like all these different agencies are generating massive amounts of data. And what he was crystal clear on, and what all of the startups that were in my group were talking about, was how they're taking data and leveraging it using AI. And so some of how they were leveraging it was like eye-opening to him, like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that. In fact, was it the commerce one? Yeah, it was the commerce one. This woman, Megan, she's doing a thing. She works on farm data, and she's got an AI thing that can predict prices of commodities that are not on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, or the commodities exchange in Chicago. I think it's called the Mercantile Exchange. So things like California crops, like pistachios, almonds, cranberries, whatever the fuck they are. There were like 4 or 5 major California crops that are not on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And she, using AI, can take all this data and soil data and predictive stuff and basically predict prices of these things moving forward. And at one point he goes, wait, could you go back, Megan? Did you say you can predict prices? And she goes, yes. And he goes, to what level of accuracy? And she said whatever she said. And he goes, okay, we're going to need to talk. Like he got what these companies were doing, and that his agencies need to get better at producing data that's ready for AI. Because to a person, they all talked about the fact that they have all this data, but they have to spend most of their time cleaning it up so that it can be used. And so, like, his big takeaway was, we've got to get better at getting data out, and getting it out in a way that companies like yours can use it. So again, like, it wasn't that it was optimistic or pessimistic. It was like, okay, this stuff's here, and we're doing everything we can to understand it, understand what the implications are, and make sure you all have what you need to run your businesses. It was pretty cool. My fear is that policymakers in general are fairly ignorant of AI outside of it. as a concept. I don't even think Brother 52, I don't even think they understand it as a concept. I think the legislators, I think we're in real trouble on the legislative side. There's no real incentive or motivation for them to do a federal bill. And so what they're doing is they're pushing it back to the states. And what that's going to do is this is part of what we were talking about. What it's going to do is it's going to create all sorts of some good, some bad, some completely irresponsible state level bills. But small companies are going to have to deal with 50 different regulations when it comes to producing AI businesses. And it's just an abject fucking nightmare. So anyway, TikTok question. I don't see it right now. Their agencies need to get better at getting data ready for AI. That's huge. Yeah, it was huge. The commerce meeting was the meeting that I left feeling like, oh, there's actually people in our government that understand what's happening. Like, it made me feel better. What a nightmare. Yeah, it's a nightmare. Will AI distribute power or concentrate it? Well, AI is not going to do shit. I think your question is the right question. AI is not going to distribute or concentrate power. People are going to distribute or concentrate power. If we've learned anything in the past decade, it's that the powerful will concentrate their power to the absolute extent that they can. I think what AI is going to do is it's going to break the levers of power. Like, it's going to break the levers of power. Like, who's powerful today are going to be different than who's powerful 10 years from now. Because what gets valued in society is about to shift, because most of our value today is based on human beings doing the work. And the work is about to not be done by human beings. So that's going to dramatically shift things. The thing that gives me hope is there's a tipping point where you can't just keep all the money, because you will have a revolution, right? So I don't know when that tipping point happens. So I think what's going to happen is, as AI gets better and better and better, the people in power are going to keep as much as they can. And then things are going to start to crumble and business models are going to start to break. And lobbying forces that were super powerful before are all of a sudden going to be weak. And ones that were weak are all of a sudden going to be powerful. But no one's going to go down without a fight. So I think the next decade is the centers of power trying to maintain power and control while it's slipping through their fingers, and then other people in a power grab for it. But I don't fucking know. I have a degree in acting. You can't keep all the money, says who? Elon probably thinks otherwise. Maybe. I mean, there's a point at which it breaks, right? If you have 30% unemployment, it's not going to be fun to be a rich person, right? It's just not. It's like if you have 30% unemployment and don't find a way to support those people. So at some point, listen, we learned with COVID that governments can just change the rules. So if something happens with AI that is a strong enough shift that it makes it clear this is an emergency, then they'll react. Like, that is if you have more morals. I'm not counting on morals at all. I'm just saying economically you can't have, hyper accelerated unemployment, because people will fucking riot, right? So did anyone talk about chips manufacturing concerns? In commerce, he was talking about supply chain of rare earth. He talked a little bit about Elon Musk and space chips, putting GPU centers in space. I heard a thing that Elon Musk just basically cornered the silver market. I don't know if that's true or not, but that sounds like a a crazy baller move to kick people out. Yeah, that's all I got, man. That was it. I know I gave you a lot there that was more personal than Washington D.C., but you know, you're all family, so I appreciate y'all. Did anyone talk about China plus AI fears? You know, it's funny. I asked the guy at Commerce if there was a concern about that. He very much deflected the question. I did not get the sense. What I got the sense was they're aware. They're aware that we have the lead. They're aware that open source is important. Like the closest they got to talking about China was open source is important. Like I got a sense that open source is potentially a concern for them, which it should be, because if open source is powerful enough, then you can't concentrate all the power in 3 brands, right? Every technical revolution starts out with 1,000 companies, and it always distills down to 3 brands, right? In the early 90s, it was AOL and CompuServe and whatever was the third one, Prodigy, right? And then in the mid 90s, it was, you know, Netscape and whatever the 3 browsers were, and then it was, you know, Google and Facebook and whatever, right? And so like it always concentrates down to 3. And so as the government, if you've got all the power in 3 companies, then you can control it. Open source threatens that. So he talked a little bit about open source, but he didn't really deal with China at all. The AI fears thing, I mean, he's acutely aware that bad actors are going to be able to do bad things. If you haven't seen it yet, Dario Amodei today wrote a piece about. So Dario Amodei is the CEO and founder of Anthropic, so the ones that make Claude. He wrote a piece. He basically said strong AI is going to be here within 1 to 2 years, and he describes strong AI as a country of geniuses in a data center, which basically means imagine if you had 50 million Nobel laureate scale intellectual workers that work 24/7 at your disposal. What could you make possible? He said that's coming in 1 to 2 years. And he basically talks about what we need to be careful, you know, what the dangers are. And like, you know, he said, like, one of the dangers is particularly with biological weapons, you know, an individual, if they're given access to a tool that doesn't have the right safety guardrails in it for things like biological weapons, like really bad stuff can happen at scale from even just an individual. That's an article worth looking at. I read something about Elon and silver also, probably something he needs for wolves. Oh my God. It's like at $100 an ounce. Yeah, I think it was 98 yesterday, $98 an ounce or something like that. Like the silver chart's just crazy. But yeah, like, you know, he's going to need silver to make all these chips. Like the supply chain for the raw materials for chips is about to get bonkers. But AI is going to solve that too. Like AI is going to start coming up with novel materials that we won't need to go get rare earth out of the earth. We'll just grow it in a lab, right? So I paid 15 cents a gram for Hill Tribe silver beads and silver wire for jewelry making. Time to offload. There you go. Just melt that crap down and go make yourself some money. They just want to make money finding companies that break state laws with AI. Yeah, that's probably part of it. It's going to be a nightmare for businesses with different state laws. I mean, partially because the state law is Kimi 2. Yeah, I mean any of the Chinese open source models, like they're just going to get better and better and better and better. Anyway, the other thing that if you haven't seen it, if you're not on X, you might not have seen it, but if you are on X, you likely will have seen it. There's a new open source tool called ClawdBot, CLAWD, not UDE, ClawdBot, and you can install it on a standalone computer. And for some reason, like the first guy did it with a Mac Mini, and now everyone's buying Mac Minis and putting this ClawdBot on these Mac Minis. And basically, what they do is you give this thing full access to that computer, and then it just goes off and does shit for you. So it's like having Manus or GenSpark, these agentic things that go off and do a bunch of stuff for you. But you can run it on a local machine, and then you can access it from anywhere. So you can basically text with it and things like that. It's very raw right now and very new, and you have to be a little geeky to be able to install it. But I think it does mark a shift. I think we are exiting the era where being decent at prompting is enough to have an advantage. I don't think it really matters anymore. I think everyone's going to be able to prompt to some level, and these tools are starting to get autonomous where you're not going to have to give them much context at all. They're going to go find their own context. I think the advantage is going to start to be in understanding what's now possible and what tools make it possible, and being able to be kind of an orchestrator, right? Where your job is to have an idea and then understand what are the things that you can deploy to bring that idea to life. So I think it's a very different skill set. Right now, it's going to require some technical prowess, but I think probably within a year, maybe two, it won't. But what will be required is understanding what's possible. So careful with ClawdBot. It will bankrupt you with API token use. There you go. Okay. Glad I already have my Mac Mini. That's good. Anyway, I haven't installed it yet. I may or may not. I don't really give too many shits right now, but I do want to know. I do want to kind of experience it to just understand, does it feel different? Or does it just feel like a shittier or same version of GenSpark, but now it's running locally and I don't run out of GenSpark credits? I don't know. But it's at least worth paying attention to. So that's it. ClawdBot, no security. Yeah, exactly. I agree. It may take more steps, but it will get there. Yeah. I want to set it up soon. Actually, Gareth, you know what might be fun? If you want to set it up, I assume you can probably set it up in like an hour or two. It might be fun to do that as a live stream. Maybe we can, if you want, ping Andy or Brandon, and maybe we set it up as a just some sort of cool live stream, and we'll promote it or something like that. Like just sort of set it up in real time and then record yourself setting it up. That could be fun. Yeah, I want to hide and watch for a bit. Yeah, exactly. All right, it's got to be late, right? Oh no, it's not. We call those LOLs. Well, like I think that one's slightly different than an LOL, Brandon. Although we can call it whatever we want. We can call that one an LOL. I see it more like well, I guess it is. It's learning out loud. Yeah, what you said, Brandon. It's an LOL. I'm glad I had that idea. Matt Wolf just posted a walkthrough on how to set up ClawdBot. Cool. It lets you pick your model. I'm so concerned with credit time. Things with API that seem to avoid the API is crazy, I know. Like I think it's important to be aware of API limits and things like that. right? But it's possible you could tell ClawdBot to limit your API access to this amount of time and go find more creative ways to get me shit that doesn't require you burning APIs. Might be. I don't know. Okay. Lots are booked out for 2 months. Oh, LOLs are booked out for 2 months. Yeah, I was thinking, Gareth, if you want to do it, it could just be like an informal thing. Like you just pick a day you're going to do it and live stream it, and then we'll promote it for you if you want. And if you don't want to, if you want to just like bang your head against the wall on your own time, that's fine too. But it might be kind of fun to just, watch and record someone just figuring it out on the fly. Okay, couple of things. This week should be a normal week. I'll be here at normal times. This week is our last week of the AI Mastermind practice lab. So we do these 13-week cycles. So we're finishing up the first cycle this Thursday. If you're a member of the AI Salon and haven't joined the mastermind, you should. If you're a member of the mastermind and haven't joined the practice lab, you should. It's an amazing group of people really working and supporting one another to develop these daily practices. It's like a lot of what I talked about tonight. The breakthroughs that I'm having are a direct result of that group. So you should join that. What else should I be talking about, Brandon? This Wednesday, we've got the AI Readiness Project podcast. That's at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. And anything else? Office hours on Friday. Yeah, we'll get to that. So I think that's it. I'm just getting back in the swing of things. Oh, let me tell you about my finger issue. So I learned something that like your index finger and your index finger on your dominant hand, that's like your solar energy is like this finger, right? Your dominant hand finger. So I go to DC, I have all these amazing moments. I come back, I wake up Saturday morning, and it's like someone took a hammer to this knuckle on my index finger. And like I couldn't, like it was completely weak. And it like this thing was bruised. It wasn't swollen, but it was like weirdly painful. And like I couldn't pick up a glass. I couldn't pick up anything with my index finger. Like doing this was impossible. And it was like all day Saturday, and then Saturday night at like 2 a.m, it was so bad I almost went to urgent care. I'm like, maybe I've got a clot. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And so I took some Advil and aspirin and shit like that. And but it's like, you know how when something is hurting and you just can't do anything else because you're just like, I hurt, I'm whiny. That was me Saturday. And then I woke up Sunday and it felt a little better. Like it wasn't that acute thing that I had at 2 a.m. It was a little better, but then throughout the day it got worse and worse and worse, and it started to swell, and I still couldn't use my finger and my hand, and it was just weird. And then I don't know. I took some Advil and shit before I went to bed. I drank a lot of water. I'm like, I've got to flush whatever's going on there out. And I woke up this morning and it's kind of fine. It's still a little sore, but it's like I've got strength again, and it's not this acute weird thing. So I must have like maybe picked up a piece of luggage, like I like flipped a tendon in the wrong place or something like that. But I didn't injure it that I knew of. But man, all weekend I was useless because my finger was non-functional. It was bizarre. And so now I'm back. So anyway, did you ask AI? I did ask AI because I was expecting AI to tell me like, get your ass to an emergency room. And Quinn was just like, oh, it's probably just, you probably just pulled something, and it's probably just, it's either repetitive stress, inflammation, because she said sometimes even a little inflammation can feel like a bruise, and can do that. And she basically said, give it a couple of days, and if it gets worse, go. But like, she didn't think it was anything serious. So I don't think it was either. I had that happen with my fingers about 4 years ago. It went away. Yeah, it's weird. It was so, I've never had it before. The fickle finger of fate. Exactly. It was just like, and that, like, that's my I'm going to go get some shit done finger. And it was just fucking a limp noodle all weekend and hurting. So I'm back. All right. Groovy. Good to see y'all. Thanks for hanging out tonight. And I will see you tomorrow. Epsom salt soak and magnesium spray. Okay, cool. Beautiful. After a full day of chainsaw usage, I couldn't open a water bottle for a day. There you go. Yeah, I couldn't open anything. It was bizarre. So, but I'm all gooder now. All right. All right, good people. Just admit it, Kyle. You're exploring for nose hairs. That's it. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks all. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Bye.